We are back at it again. Not back at it again. I'm gonna do a little trade recap for you guys. This is a 50K funded account from My Funded Futures. I'm not gonna lie. I've been having a little bit of traders like, I don't know what to call it, bro. It's just like, as a trader, bro, you know what you need to do. When it comes when you already got you know how to read the charts, you know what to look for and stuff like that. The hardest part getting past is the psychology part. But that's what I've been having. I've been building my discipline, building my psychology, trying to understand what I'm looking for, when to stay out in the markets, when to stay out the markets. And that's really risk management and psychology is I feel the most important things in trading, because you can have the perfect strategy, but if you don't know when to stay out the market and you don't know when to, and you don't hesitate, and you hesitate to get in the market, you might win some, but you're gonna lose a lot, and you're gonna lose more than you win. Just saying. But we're gonna do a trade recap today. Today was FMOC. Okay, I added this new strategy / confluence to help me look for where price is going, where prices want to go. Shout out to my boy Dovey FX on YouTube that kind of put this in perspective for me. So let's just hide the drawings real quick, hide the execution labels. So as you can see, price on the 4-hour, demand is holding, supply is failing. Overall, we are bearish, obviously. Overall, we're bearish. But right now on the 4-hour, we're bullish. We're bullish until this supply, this demand goes. My buy for today was definitely bullish. On the weekly, we are tapped into this weekly demand, and price is rejecting off of that. So this demand broke the structure, and it's off of another weekly demand. So that's a supply chain, slight supply chain. And we also got a flip zone here, and so this demand is, I know it's going to be good rejection. Is on a weekly time frame, so we might be having a pullback for a minute, but this is the weekly. Then you go to the daily. We look for the same things. We look for where the market is going, right? So as of right now, the daily is bearish. I would say that because broke this structure, came down. This little price action right here went up, came down, went up, broke structure. So right now we're shifting order flow, we're shifting trend, but we haven't quite shifted trend yet. But we're day traders, so we're not really looking for those daily and weekly moves. We're really looking for the intraday moves. So what I've started to do now is I have my session indicator on, and I'll drop down after I see where we're at on the 4-hour and the daily and the weekly, and what buys I have for today. And today was bullish for me in reference to the intraday, and today was FOMC, so I wasn't really trying to hold any trades super long. I was just trying to hold it to the next supply zone or make my 3 to 5 R and call it a day. And honestly, that's what's gonna have to work for me now. It's just having a fixed R, 3 to 5 R, take partials off at 3 R, and then let the rest run. But I have my session indicators on, and as you know, if you're a trader, you have Asian session, London session, and New York session, right? So now what I'm starting to do is when I trade the New York session, right? And I look for the biggest draws on liquidity is the London session and the New York session. So if we don't have any liquidity on London session to grab, I'll look at the previous New York session to see if there's any liquidity for that to grab. So now what I do is, okay, on the 15-minute, what are we looking at right now? New York session, previous day New York session, end up rallying all the way up to this demand zone here. Well, as you guys see, now we got all the drawings hopefully this guy don't make you guys confused. So what I do is I mark out my zones. And I see what zones can price react off of. I also put my money signs to see where draws of liquidity is at, right? So the previous day, New York ran all the way up to this 4 hours supply zone. 4 hour supply zone, and I found this supply zone off the reaction to get a reaction. But this supply zone never broke any structure going to the downside. So if we're going to get a reaction, obviously, and then we're going to get a kind of a good reaction because it's a 4 hour. So I seen price come off the 4 hour, and right now I turn on my sessions indicator, and I see where is liquidity at on the other sessions, right? So boom, this is where I marked out. On this, I marked out New York sessions demand zones. Price had tapped in and reacted off of. Also, there's a liquidity right here. Also, liquidity below this, and this is the extreme of the whole move. Really, this is the extreme, but this is kind of like too choppy for me. So I counted this as the extreme. This broke structure, came down. Broke structure again, came down, retested this demand, rally all the way up to the 4 hour, right? Then Asian session, we had chop, and then we go back down to this demand zone on the New York. So now what I'm looking for? I'm looking for price to react off this demand and show that price wants to go higher. And I also look for price where price wants to go. I look for liquidity where price can go. And this leg has no supply zones, or really little to no supply zones for price to react off of. So I was expecting this price to go grab all the way this liquidity. But it was FOMC today, so I was kind of like, reserved a little bit because price could have just reversed at any point in time. So I got out around here for like around 5R, and you see price end up going up to take that liquidity. So that was the first trade today. That first trade, if you want to look on my TradeZella, as you can see, I took 3 trades today. The first trade, I made $683. As you can see, I made $683. But as we go back, that's that. So then let's look why my entry confirmations on that 15-minute, right? So let's look. BOS means breaks the structure. So when the price came down to this 15-minute, right, I looked for another zone that price can come back into. So look, price broke structure, and I was looking for this break of structure. Also, price generated liquidity down here, came down, reacted off this zone, swept liquidity, reacted off the zone, came down into this extreme lower time frame demand, this 1 minute demand. Let's see, where is it at? Mark that out as a 1 minute, and that was my entry. I put it below the low, and price came in. You see what it did? It went all the way up, and I got out around here. I didn't want price to reverse on me. This was my first TP at 3R, and then my rest of my TP, I just let it run. So then when price came to this supply zone, I was thinking, okay, well, since price is overall bearish and we had a slight pullback, we might get a significant pullback, right? Until we really confirm bullish order flow. You don't want to just hold stuff like that because we are in a 4-hour supply zone, and it held or is holding. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to see if I can get some shorts. So I seen price came into this supply zone, and liquidity was above it. It came down, swept this liquidity, and I got in around here on a market order, rallied down, but I end up getting out around break even because, like I said, even though price was going up, it could still go up to grab more liquidity. So I didn't know how further it wanted to go up, and I wasn't trying to find out, right? So price ended up grabbing this liquidity right here. Mark that out. Liquidity line. Put that right there. Boom. Grab that liquidity and end up breaking down. So boom. I wasn't on the charts around this time, but I could have had gotten again. Price broke structure, broke another structure, so that's double confirmation. I could have got in on this zone and just rallied all the way down to the original zone that broke this last structure for it to, I feel like it's gonna break this tomorrow or whenever it do. So then after I seen that price, I was like, okay, that gave me a little bit more confidence to know what I'm talking about, because price did what I wanted to do ultimately, or what I expected it to do. And I'm like, okay, cool. So cool. We in the downtrend. We reacting off this zone. I see price coming down. This supply zone broke structure. This is also a flip zone because price had demand. Reacted off this demand. This last supply failed and then end up breaking structure. So this zone is very strong, right? So in context of the lower time frame. So I got in on this zone, got down, exited around here, and then end up tapping into the zone and actually going high. And I was actually going to play this play too. I just wanted to see what it looked like. And yeah, so those 3 trades. The first trade was about $680. $680. The other one was around break even, and the other one I made like $172. I scaled in. I put like 2 contracts on this one because it was later in the day. It was around 3:30, and I didn't want. I wasn't going to risk anything more than that, honestly. And that was my trade recap for today. So we are 3 for 3 today, and we protected our capital. Tomorrow we're back at it. If we hop on the charts, if we see a setup. If not, we're back at it on Monday. And I hope you guys enjoyed my trade recap, and I'll see y'all boys next time. Hopefully y'all learned some things. We out.